Comparison in land-based empires. Foreigners appreciate only military power. Thus, they submit to us wholeheartedly and do not dare to despise China once we display our hunting techniques to them. Qianlong, Emperor of China, 1735. Essential question. By what methods did empires increase their societal and cultural influence from circa 1450-C, 1750? Building and maintaining large land-based empires is a major theme in the period circa 1450-C, 1750. These empires grew as they incorporated lands they conquered. Their rulers implemented policies to solidify or legitimize their rule over a diverse population. However, the conquered often did not totally assimilate to the life and culture of their conquerors. In some cases, the conquered influenced the conquerors, helping to shape a blended culture. The interconnection of hemispheres also led to blended cultures, and not all empires were able to maintain their authority. For example, the gunpowder empires declined, unable to compete with European trading companies, especially the British, and unable to resolve conflicts of heirs motivated by harem politics. See topic 3.1. Other factors in the decline included weak or corrupt leadership and failure to keep up with developments in military and naval technology. The expensive armies each empire needed to maintain control placed harsh financial burdens on the peasants and villages in the form of taxes and other obligations. Religious conflicts also divided and weakened the gunpowder empires. A deep religious schism divided Muslims and Hindus in Mughal India, just as a schism divided Sunni Ottomans and Shia Safavids and set the stage for conflict between the present-day countries of Iraq and Iran. Write a paragraph comparing the decline of Mughal India with the decline of the Mongol Empire. See topic 2.1. Military might. The armies of these land-based empires were well-trained, well-organized, well-equipped, and well-led. Empires in Eurasia all relied on gunpowder weapons, including large cannons in support of more traditional cavalry and infantry units. In the Americas, the fierceness of both the Aztec and Incan warriors allowed them to intimidate and conquer neighboring territories. Soldiers. In some cases, the rulers of land-based empires developed an elite group of soldiers to use in solidifying their control over their territories. For instance, both the Ottoman Sultan and Safavid Shah used enslaved soldiers to offset the power of troops who had more loyalty to their tribe or local governor than to the Sultan or Shah. The Janissaries in the Ottoman Empire helped to preserve the power of the Ottoman Sultan, and the Ghulams helped to protect the Safavid Shah from rival clans. Both the Janissaries and the Ghulams were often recruited from minority religious or ethnic groups found within the empires. The Janissaries were often enslaved people taken from Christian areas of the Ottoman Empire, while the Ghulams came from the Georgian, Armenian, or Circassian populations within the Safavid Empire. The system of taking people as part of a blood tax in the Ottoman Empire, this was known as devshirme, or tribute, was not limited to the Ottomans or Safavids. Aztecs also required enslaved people or prisoners as part of the tribute offered by conquered states. Warfare. These strong militaries did not prevent conflict among the land-based empires. The Ottoman Empire and Safavid Empire went to war over the territorial claims each had at its border. However, religion also played a role as an underlying cause of this conflict. The Ottoman Empire was a predominantly Sunni Muslim state, while the Safavids were mainly Shia. Each believed the other to practice a heretical type of Islam and was willing to go to war over this split. Religion was not as important a factor in the conflict between the Safavids and the Mughals as it was in the Ottoman-Safavid War. Instead, control over resources and trade routes in present-day Afghanistan was at the core of the war between these two land-based empires. Two Muslim powers conflicted when Morocco invaded the Songhai Empire in 1591. Moroccan forces sacked the capital of Gao and ended the empire. However, Morocco was unable to hold on to all the Songhai territory. Centralized bureaucracy. Controlling a large area with such diverse populations required land-based empires to establish an organized and centralized bureaucracy. Recruiting bureaucratic elites took several forms. In the Ming and Manchu dynasties of China, the civil service examination system was used to assess the abilities of the members of the scholar gentry who wished to enter government service. In the Ottoman Empire, the devshirme system provided the Sultan with a ready-made pool of civil servants strictly loyal to him, while in the Safavid Empire, the Shah would enlist a class of bureaucrats from the Persian population of the empire, known as the men of the pen. In the Songhai Empire, the Mansa, a Mandika word meaning sultan, employed bureaucrats from the scholarly class educated in the schools or madrasas of Timbuktu. While the Incas did not use a dedicated scholarly class to rule their empire as the Ming and Manchus did, they did organize their empire into a federal system of provinces headed by nobles loyal to the emperor. Further, these nobles oversaw a very organized political structure that was divided on the basis of a decimal system. Despite its many similarities to other land empires, the Aztec Empire was less centralized and bureaucratic than the other land empires. The Aztec created a tributary empire and had little to no direct control over the territory within the region of Mesoamerica. It kept control over this region through force, fear, and intimidation rather than through a centralized bureaucracy. Taxation. Some form of taxation or revenue collection was necessary to support the bureaucracy and military of the land-based empires of this period. Taxation took many forms in these empires. Mughal zamindar tax collection. Mughal emperors appointed tax officers or zamindars to collect taxes from the peasant class based on land and production. Ottoman tax farming. Rather than employing government tax collectors, the Ottoman sultans appointed tax farmers to pay an annual fixed sum of money for an area to the central government and then recoup the outlay by collecting money or saleable goods from the residents of the area. Many janissaries were paid their salaries in this manner by collecting more money than they paid out to the central government. Aztec tribute lists. As the Aztecs, or Mexica, formed a tributary empire, the main source of revenue that supported the Aztec noble class and military came from yearly offerings or tributes from the surrounding areas. The lists included whichever local product was made or valued, but could also include a demand for people, many of whom became human sacrifices in Aztec religious rituals. Ming collection of hard currency. The Ming Empire, like its predecessors, issued paper currency as a means to facilitate trade and tax collection. However, the use of paper money led to rampant counterfeiting and hyperinflation. The Ming then ordered that all taxes should be paid in the form of rice and later silver coins known as hard currency. Striving for legitimacy. While the diversity of the populations of the land-based empires was beneficial to the economic and political strength of the empires, ruling over populations that included many ethnicities, religions, and tribal ties was challenging. Therefore, many rulers turned to other than political means to unite their subjects in their loyalty to the state. Rulers used religion, art, and monumental architecture to legitimize their rule. Akbar attempted a syncretic approach to religion in the Mughal Empire, but he had little success in that area.